The UFC just did something insane. UFC Saudi Arabia is now headline for the main event: Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion, and Khamzat Chimaev. This fight is so interesting and brings out so many questions. Is Khamzat Chimaev still the scariest guy? Is he still the projected future champion in the middleweight division? Can he still take down anybody he rolls through in the first round? And Robert Whittaker, can Robert Whittaker still prove that he is one of the baddest middleweights in the division? Can he beat Khamzat Chimaev, avenge his loss against Dricus du Plessis, and become the champion again? There are so many questions about this fight. There's so many wonders on what could happen, who's going to do what, how they're going to do it, and we're going to go through everything in this video. But before we do, be sure to like, comment who you think will win, Khamzat Chimaev or Robert Whittaker, and subscribe for more content like this. Now let's get into it. Robert Whittaker, 26-7, will be facing Khamzat Chimaev, who is 13-0. There's so many questions about this fight, and I am so happy that this fight is even happening. Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion, the man who has fought the who's who: Paulo Costa, Dricus du Plessis, Marvin Vettori, Israel Adesanya, Kevin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till. The list just goes on and on and on. Not only is Robert Whittaker one of the greatest middleweights in the UFC, but he's one of the greatest fighters in the UFC. Robert Whittaker has so much to him that makes him great. Great striking, good grappling, pretty good power, his stance, how he moves, his speed. Robert Whittaker is a very, very special fighter. Robert Whittaker lands 4.57 significant strikes per minute, which is pretty good, and absorbs 3.45 significant strikes per minute, which is also good. He's landing more strikes than he's getting hit with. Robert Whittaker also has pretty good grappling. He has an 82% takedown defense and a 38% takedown accuracy. But he is facing the man who is known to be one of the scariest fighters at one time in the UFC. The man to have insane grappling, insane wrestling, and he does. Khamzat Chimaev lands 5.72 significant strikes per minute and absorbs 3.46 significant strikes per minute, which is really good. He's landing 2 more strikes than he's getting hit with. But Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling is what makes him who he is. Khamzat Chimaev has a 46% takedown accuracy, which is pretty good, and a 100% takedown defense, and averages 3.99 takedowns per 15 minutes, about 1 takedown a round. Not only did Khamzat Chimaev brutally beat up Kamaru Usman in that first round, but he choked out Kevin Holland, had a crazy war with Gilbert Burns, and beat the Leech in the first round. Khamzat Chimaev has shown that he is a great fighter. But is he the guy that we thought he was? Is he this insane first round finisher? Khamzat Chimaev might be the greatest first round fighter ever in MMA. He just comes at you with all this force, all this power, this crazy energy, and you don't know how to control it. But I believe if Robert Whittaker can make it out the first or even second round, he will beat Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev showed in his last fight against Kamaru Usman that his gas tank eventually runs out. And when it does, he's hittable. You can land good strikes on him. He opens up very fast. He's slow. You can piece up Khamzat Chimaev after the second round. And I think that's exactly what will happen. Robert Whittaker is a great striker. He's a point fighter. He can land in and out. He knows how to get into your range, land good shots, good power shots with 1, 2, 3 or a high kick, and get out in time without you hitting him. He's great at leg kicks, roundhouse kicks, head kicks. He's great at everything. Robert Whittaker, what makes him so good is his management on distance, being able to land strikes, disengage, and then get back into range, land a couple strikes, and grapple with you or defend the takedown. Robert Whittaker is all around a great fighter. That's what makes him so good. But it seems like Khamzat Chimaev really just has his power in wrestling. He doesn't have the striking to go back and forth with Robert Whittaker, or he's going to get eaten up with shots. But Khamzat Chimaev does have the insane grappling. And the question comes down to, can Robert Whittaker withstand 2 rounds against Khamzat Chimaev and beat him? Does Robert Whittaker have the grappling to even last 2 rounds against Khamzat Chimaev? Robert Whittaker showed a lot of vulnerabilities against Dricus du Plessis when he fought him. Robert Whittaker almost got subbed in the first round with a head arm choke. He was getting beat up pretty bad. And how Dricus even took down Robert Whittaker was just pure strength. It wasn't anything insane, no crazy technique. But Khamzat Chimaev does have pretty good technique, but he has insane strength. And Robert Whittaker, if he doesn't protect himself in time, he can get choked out by Khamzat Chimaev. But I think Robert Whittaker can withstand 2 rounds against Khamzat Chimaev. I think the biggest thing that really helped out Khamzat Chimaev all the way up to this point was the scariness about him. The fact that he just ran dudes over. And I think that mindset put that thought in their head, where everybody that Khamzat has faced, not that they're scared, but they have this hold or pause and they're just waiting for something crazy to happen. Kevin Holland, I think it got to him. Gilbert Burns, it got to him. The Leech, it got to him. And I definitely think in the first round, Kamaru Usman, it went to his head. He felt like Khamzat Chimaev was way more. He was going to do way more. And he didn't. I do think Khamzat Chimaev has a pretty good chance in the first 2 rounds. I think if he attacks Robert Whittaker right away and forces a lot of ground and pound on Robert Whittaker, submissions will open up and Robert Whittaker can get tapped. But if Khamzat Chimaev doesn't land a lot of ground and pound and he's just looking for submissions, I don't think he'll be able to get Robert Whittaker. I think you have to beat up Robert Whittaker and then be able to snatch a submission in order to submit him. You're not going to just be able to catch Robert Whittaker. It's not going to happen. Robert Whittaker is very good on the ground game, and he very rarely ever has problems where he's getting threatened with submissions. So if Khamzat Chimaev wants to beat Robert Whittaker, I think in the first round, that's when you do it. After the second round, Robert Whittaker will start to beat up Khamzat Chimaev. If you look back at the Paulo Costa fight, after that first round, Robert Whittaker was having success. He's a great late round fighter. That's how he beat Marvin Vettori. 3rd, 4th, 5th round, he's just racking up strikes. That's how he beat Kevin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier, and Darren Till. If you give Robert Whittaker time to read you, you are done. You're just going to get eaten up with shots. You're not going to be able to get in his range. The punches won't really hurt him because he's moving away from them when you're throwing them. Robert Whittaker will definitely win this fight if it goes the distance. My prediction is Robert Whittaker will beat Khamzat Chimaev 48-47. I think Robert Whittaker will outlast the first 2 rounds, and I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to be too gassed. I don't think he's going to be able to land enough strikes against Robert Whittaker in order to really convince the judges that he's beating Robert Whittaker. I think in the first round, that's the most likely round where Khamzat Chimaev will win. I think if it gets past the first, it's a little tricky in the second, depending if he takes his time off and wants to fight harder in the 3rd or 4th or 5th round. But if it goes past the second round, I think Robert Whittaker beats Khamzat Chimaev clearly and moves on and fights Dricus du Plessis for the middleweight championship, and there's that rematch. Those are my predictions. That's what I think. Be sure to comment who you think is going to win, Robert Whittaker or Khamzat Chimaev, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.